So
What?
thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm Beatrice with the Global Wellness Institute team. We also have Nancy and Susie on. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us for our first Global Wellness Institute Initiative collaboration call. We're really excited that we are also starting calls hosted by Initiative Chairs each Thursday now. And thank you, Julie Bach, so much for stepping up and hosting the first one today. Julie is the chair of the Wellness for Cancer initiative from our institute and has been part of our tribe and family for a lot of years, and she's doing amazing work in the cancer community. And we thank you for hosting the call today on repurposing digital content for the cancer community. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Julie, and over to you. It's all yours.
Okay, my pleasure. So I always start meetings with a very short breathing exercise or a meditation, just because we've all just hopped on. So you can keep your eyes open or you can close your eyes. Either way, doesn't matter. And we're just going to quickly do a heart-centered breath work. So just sitting up straight. I like seeing everyone move. Just breathing in and out through your heart. So breathing in for a count of 4 and breathing out for a count of 4. Breathing in and breathing out. I'm grateful for everyone on this call, turning the corners of your lips up to a smile, feeling your body at ease and peace when you smile. Breathing in and breathing out. And slowly open your eyes. That was less than 20 seconds, but hopefully we are all very nice, calm, and in a very mindful place. So we have a very jam-packed agenda, which is very normal for me. I'm thrilled with the attendance, and I know more people will be joining in. The way that the Global Wellness Initiative has been done for Wellness for Cancer has really been as a steward, as a patient advocate, looking at the research that's being done within the cancer community for what is called cancer care and how it's supported with evidence. And then we've created the initiative to be a pilot and to test solutions as a learning lab to see how the wellness industry can best support the cancer industry or the cancer care piece. We've gathered a really broad spectrum of people on the call. We have individuals who have been affected by cancer. We have individuals who are in the cancer care units in hospitals, social workers, researchers, medical doctors, as well as the wellness industry at large and represented by a lot of the hospitality sector, as well as physical activity, mind, body, and exercise. So as you can see, we've garnered a lot of people here, and I don't want to make any assumptions on what we know about each other's work. And so what I would like to do is to really set the stage that this is a time for us to explore, to see how we can help support the cancer community. And the cancer community can also voice to us your concerns, what you are needing from us. This really is an opportunity for the wellness industry to demonstrate and to explain how we deliver wellness. Because how wellness is delivered in a cancer center is very different than how we deliver it within hospitality, for example. The beautiful thing is that the cancer community is patient-centric. So everything revolves around the patient. We talk about hospitality. One of our core competencies that the medical community may not know is that we curate experiences and we curate personalized experiences. And during this time of COVID right now, where budgets are being cut by many cancer support organizations, where the cancer care programs in hospitals have been cut, and they're scrambling to find digital solutions. There's a lot of things that we can do together, but I'm also hoping that the call will broaden your horizon. We know yoga, mindfulness, meditation, that's the low-hanging fruit. We know that those are things that we can provide. But I'm going to ask you to listen to the voices on the call, to stretch your imagination on how we can deliver even better services to our clients who have been touched by cancer. Karina, is Nadine on the call? Yes? Okay, so if we can unmute Nadine Yap. There you are, Nadine. Nadine is going to give us the framework for creating digital content and community. So we're going to have a few different flares throughout the whole call, which is how I do it. We're going to hear first from the voices of cancer. We're going to hear from Nadine to set the stage first, and then we're going to move over to the wellness side so that we can start introducing wellness. Then we will come together with Marina from Greece, as well as American Cancer Society, to replay what we've heard, get a little infusion going on, and then we'll open it up for discussion. So Nadine, if you could help set the stage a little bit when we start thinking about digital communities and digital content.
Hi, everyone. I think I come from a slightly different background than many of you. I come from the digital media and digital content space. I've worked at Amazon.com and Yahoo, both in the US and in Southeast Asia. And I currently work at a company called Untitled Media. And what we do is we curate information that some of you might think is readily available for parents and people who are looking to get pregnant or who are pregnant in Western countries and in English language that are not available for underserved markets in sort of developing countries. And what happens is that with digital media, you can really take information and curate, just as Julie was saying, that the hospitality industry curates personalized experiences. One can personalize content that is available and target it effectively at a market or an audience of people who really need it and who otherwise haven't been able to find it, because although you can Google, it's really hard sometimes to sort of find really good and really trusted information. So talking to Julie a little bit about this this session here and the diverse audience, it just occurs to me that, and this with my sister, who might be talking later, who is a cancer survivor.
10 seconds.
In her journey to find information and curate information, I think there's a lot of great material out there that we can use all our collective resources and figure out how to find out sort of what is available and how we can collect it and personalize it to the patients and to the audiences that need it.
Thank you. Shara?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this gathering and like-minded folks. I would say women, but might be men on the phone as well. I am a 7-year cancer survivor. And as a result of my battle that I overcame with cancer, it inspired me. I had an epiphany that part of my self-care or part of my recovery was anchored in my ability to practice self-care in every aspect of my life. So as a result, I birthed this movement called Grit and Grace, the movement that focuses on helping women to place self-care on par with their ambition. And so I'm excited to be here today to hear more about this. We are launching an event, a conference in a week or two, and I have over 1,000 women joining. And this is so central to to the movement. I remember when I was recovering in the early stages, and I would get the advice from a health practitioner that I had to change my ways, but they didn't really articulate what they meant by that. It wasn't 3 years until after my incidents with cancer that the light bulb went off on what it means to change my ways. And really it's putting self-care on par with my ambitions. So that's why I'm here today. I want to thank Kaylee for bringing me to the table.
And Cheryl, if you could just share a little bit from your journey, because you have a little extra time. Your subject is grit and grace.
Correct.
And how, go ahead.
Grit and grace. So grit being your passion, your work, everything that you give to the world to succeed, to achieve your goals and ambitions. And grace being offering yourself self-care, offering yourself love. So and how that manifests, whether it's things like low-hanging fruit, yoga and meditation, to boundaries, saying no, managing your time better. So those other, listening to your heart and your soul, how to really manage and put those two things together. I think oftentimes, particularly women who are already overstretched, and then you put a high-performing woman on top of that. We're fighters, and that's all that we know. It's our default muscle that we rely on. And too few times we know how to offer ourselves grace, how to take care of ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually. So I last year launched I did a TED Talk about grit and grace, my epiphany. And I've had a very hard charging career. I've worked in government, I've run for US Senate, I've been CEO of a couple of companies and organizations. And so I've had a very hard charging career. I knew a lot about grit, knew nothing about grace, how to offer myself grace. Did a TED Talk about that. In 2018, it sort of sparked this movement. And last year I hosted my first Grit and Grace Day, where we had speakers kind of speaking to women's souls and hearts, as well as to their ambition. And we put the two together. Our first speaker was the CEO of Ulta Beauty, who loved that message of grit and grace. And so we can't gather for our second annual conference, Grit and Grace Day. So instead, I'm hosting a virtual conference and bringing together coaches, both in the self-care space and in the professional development space, to help women, particularly in the midst of this pandemic, to really balance themselves, achieve greater balance as a way to fuel their performance. So hopefully that's a good enough snapshot.
No, that was perfect. The reason that we had brought you in also to speak is a lot of people tried to power through cancer. And either they're exhausted at the very end, or in the middle, there is this epiphany of, I need to take care of myself. And as an industry, as the wellness industry, we are known for self-care. And it's a beautiful, easy bridge, but also to understand the journey of many people who need that help in making lifestyle choices and in placing self at a higher priority. We're going to move.
Absolutely right.
Thank you. We're going to move over to Dana now. Thank you so much. Dana is going to share her view of Voices of Cancer. That's what this first piece is about. And understanding this new image and the way that individuals would like to be portrayed. So Dana, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Really appreciate being here, being a part of such an incredibly important conversation. I've been a breast cancer survivor for 10 years. I was diagnosed when I was 27 years old. And so cancer 10 years ago looked very, very different than what it looks like today. And as a part of that, I founded an intimates line called Ana Ono, which really thinks about the woman as a whole, from the moment she's diagnosed through her recovery, into any treatments that she may have, and eventually into that life beyond the diagnosis. And I think what's really important about the work that we do now, 10 years ago at 27, I felt completely thrust into a world that was not built for a young woman. it was very outdated. The options were matronly and utilitarian at best. I think that we were looked upon as a medical device and as a patient and not as people. And I can even say from being in this industry for now 10 years, talking about wellness, right? Talking about the whole idea of what embodies a cancer patient is from all facets. And I can totally agree with the grit and grace part, that it's multifaceted throughout our lives on many levels, both professionally and personally. And a lot of what I try to do with Ana Ono is really encourage patients not to lose their femininity, their identity, their sexuality, as they are embarking on a world that is changing all of those facets of their life. Like, I think it's important that we still celebrate who we are with or without the cancer. And that's really hard to do when the industry has been looking at breast cancer patients as both an older generation, but also as women that are dying. So I think that there's an important piece that we are living until we are dead. And that might be from an early stage cancer to a progressive stage 4 cancer. And it's important that we celebrate the life that we have left. And I think cancer patients know that more than any other human, that time can be limited. So what we do in every part, from managing the drain bulbs after the mastectomy, through keeping women comfortable during radiation, and eventually getting themselves in the back into the bedroom, is just to celebrate their new bodies in whatever shape or size or form it comes in. We know that mastectomy surgery specifically is incredibly body altering. There's no breasts, there's new breasts, there's all sorts of different options. And, you know, women should feel good in that skin and that decision and that choice, and not feel like they're broken. And that's really what we try to encourage, is that you can love yourself no matter what shape or size it now comes in. And part of our work is beyond just a bra. There's also solutions, but we've really helped to pave the way to change conversations with our annual fundraiser at New York Fashion Week. And every year for the last 4 years, we've highlighted all patient models that are afflicted by breast cancer, from previvors to stage 4. We've raised over $300,000 for an organization, Medivivor, which funds metastatic stage 4 breast cancer research, which is the only breast cancer that kills. And we make sure that we're always putting out a new conversation for the community, whether it's showing off your scars and being empowered by that, or if it's talking about stage 4 metastatic disease, which is a very scary topic. Or it's just about celebrating your life in whatever that form is. We really hope to change that conversation with these events and with these shows. And so far, I'm very proud to say that, you know, we have brought a lot of conversation out of the darkness and into the light.
You have.
To expose that side. So thank you so much.
So just to summarize a few quick things as we move along, and Kaylee, you're doing an amazing job with keeping us going. So thank you. Dana, one of the things that I love about what you're doing and the work that you're doing is really pushing us through not thinking that people with cancer, even in their journey, are frail. And the fact that you have gotten a fashion show during New York Fashion Week, where the actual models are cancer patients, is huge. And the fact that people don't feel that they have to hide, but actually feel that they can express and embody who they are. And that is where COVID, in a way, has helped the rest of us understand that what we do is about humanity. And humans need humans, and businesses are here to serve the greater good and to help people live the best lives that they can. And that is what we do in the wellness industry. And so I want to celebrate what you do and to thank you for helping us to understand ways and that we should be thinking about individuals as these strong, fearless women that they are. So next, moving over to April. April is a founder and editor-in-chief of Wildfire magazine. Wildfire has women who are in their 20s through 40s, so we are definitely giving a little bit of a younger slant right now, and that's purposeful, just to give this new voice of cancer. So April, if you could share with us some of the things about, from a content standpoint, that your audience is looking for, and some of the things that you have been trying online.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So as Julie said, I publish a magazine called Wildfire Magazine that's specifically for women considered to be too young for breast cancer. Those are the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And the reason that I launched this magazine was that I myself had breast cancer at 35. And similar to what Dana was saying, I was thrust into a breast cancer scene that felt like it was very much geared to older women. And so I was handed resources and shown examples of women I couldn't relate to. And so as I progressed through my own survivorship, I really yearned to learn how to own my own story and how to find my place in this new community that I was a part of. So I launched this magazine to help other young women tell their stories, because I feel that there's a very strong need for story when it comes to not feeling lonely and alone in a community. And so that's what I do, is I help people tell their stories. They are people who don't consider themselves to be writers per se, but definitely feel that there is something inside of them that needs help coming out. But that's very hard when you feel invisible, or cancer has gotten in the way of loving yourself. So at the core of it is getting back in touch with yourself. So every issue of the magazine is personal narratives, but I also have yoga, meditation, nutrition, and conversations like that. And then what I do as well is offer writing workshops for women to come together and write in community, learn how to make writing a practice, learn how to access memories that they maybe thought they were cut off from forever due to treatment or trauma and things like that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for leading the way on that. Some of the things that I would like for the wellness industry at large to understand is the use of healing arts. That is where everything is going, toward humanities, toward healing. And we'll hear a little bit more in a few minutes from an art therapist. And we'll also hear later from Mark, who's going to share some evidence base from Johns Hopkins Mind Lab on how individuals during COVID are utilizing the healing arts, which is nothing new for the cancer community, but definitely something we can learn from you. Moving over to Melissa Berry, who is a cancer influencer. So many of us are used to using influencers to build our brand. Cancer itself in many countries have cancer influencers to help women through the journey. So Melissa, could you please just briefly share a little bit from your view as well?
Absolutely. Julie, thank you so much for creating this platform and inviting us all to gather and speak today. There's so many faces here that I just can't, once things settle down, I can't wait to especially Cheryl, who it looks like we share a 7-year survivorship. So congratulations to you. My name is Melissa Berry. I'm the founder of cancerfashionista.com, and my background is in fashion and beauty PR. So I was living the hustle and bustle in New York, luxury, good publicist life, running from fashion shows to press events. And I was stopped pretty cold in my tracks when I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. And once I knew what my course of treatment was, I thought, well, how am I going to look like not a cancer patient when I'm going to meet with, of all people, beauty editors, going to fashion shows, going to photo shoots. And I scoured the internet and I thought to myself, where is the vogue of breast cancer? And similar to what Dana and April found, I found myself in a world that I couldn't relate to. The women were older, they looked like really sad and like they were dying, and the products were far and few between. And so I decided to make my own list of things that I could relate to. And one of the items that I found was Ana Ono Intimates. And Dana is actually a pretty big catalyst to what I'm doing today, because a light bulb went off. I thought, well, if there are brands like Ana Ono for post-mastectomy bras, there must be beauty brands and other brands that get me. Because I still, I think that the underlying theme here is that as cancer patients, we're still women. I still considered myself fashion forward and trendy and fun, and I didn't want to lose that. So I ended up putting together a list. And then through word of mouth, friends of friends would say, hey, I know someone that was diagnosed, you have that list. And I shared it, and it really happened all by accident. It was a list that became a blog that I tossed together when I was on chemo and could barely even make dinner, but I came up with a logo and a brand, and it was my escape. And so today I'm proud to say that I continue to interview brands, and I'm always looking for new ones, and also really locking arms with my fellow survivors like Dana and April and other women in the community. And one thing that I'm sure we agree, is that breast cancer specifically can be incredibly defeminizing. When you lose your hair and your breasts, we're taught as young girls playing with Barbies, like those are the things that make us feel girly, for lack of a better word. And when you lose them, it's very easy to feel like you're going to lose your womanhood. And so I'm really on a mission to help women maintain their outer beauty, but also to know that it's their essence that makes them beautiful from the inside. My following is very, again, they're interested in the same fashion and beauty trends that everyone else is interested in. And certainly we have to skew them to their needs. So for example, you can't necessarily wear strip lashes if you don't have your own lashes. So what do you do? How do you deal with your hair falling out? So all of those things I help to create solutions and bring, research and bring solutions for. And now, during quarantine.
Melissa, I'm going to have to move you on. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay,
No problem.
Thank you. So we have Elizabeth, who is an art therapist, and because she has to hop on another call, which is why we have to move for a moment, but we will circle back. Elizabeth has been doing creative art workshops in places like Canyon Ranch, as well as Golden Door. Her classes aren't posted as cancer workshops in these venues, but are workshops, and many times you have people who have different illnesses or going through different situations. And Elizabeth has also been experimenting with online, which is something that we can learn from. So Elizabeth, if you could just quickly give us an overview of how you are using art therapy, and especially online.
Thank you, Julie. First of all, thank you so much for putting this all together. Every single one of you here is so inspiring to me personally. I, as an artist, an art therapist, I've been teaching creativity and expressive workshops at places, as Julie mentioned, like The Door and Canyon Ranch, and privately for years and years and years. I have very often worked with women who have cancer. I have always treated all of my groups the same. And I think where we've missed the boat in wellness up to this point is really supporting women in digging much more deeply. It's one thing to teach the rules of perspective. It's another thing to offer women perspective in life and really help them transform their experience into something positive, into something that has meaning. I've been so blessed to work with women with cancer, women who have recovered from cancer, and it's all the same, discovering who we are, really learning that self-care piece, as Cheryl mentioned. I don't think there's anything more important than that. And I have actually seen that going through trauma like cancer can support post-traumatic growth that actually gives life so much more meaning afterwards. And it's our duty, it's my belief as facilitators, that we have to support women with tools to keep accessing these deep and beautiful parts of ourselves for whatever life brings to us. So grateful to have been sharing things online lately. I have found that the transition to online arts and expressive arts has been really beautiful. Clients tell me they're less distracted, they can be more focused, and no one else can see their art. So they're really free to personally express themselves and access that joy of creativity that is so helpful and healing, and combining that with mindfulness, as Julie has so beautifully brought into the fold has also been a passion of mine. So that's what I have to say about it.
So Elizabeth has been bringing in nature while she's doing her Zoom call. So this is an opportunity to think about as you're going to continue with digital content, because that's here today now. But she's been utilizing videos of nature, then doing a meditation, then doing an art workshop. And as you said, one of the beautiful things of delivering art through Zoom is that a person feels a little safer in a way because someone's not looking at their canvas.
Right.
So again, art therapy, we're going to see a lot more of that, but it's also a modality that can be taken online. So thank you for sharing that with us. We're now moving over to Karina Yap, who is going to share her experience of two worlds. And I will leave it at that for you to express in any way and hold space.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for bringing us all together today with something that is making me feel really emotional. I'm a one-year cancer survivor. I also have worked in the wellness field for coming up to 12 years with Como Shambhala. And so I feel I'm still in a very early part of my journey. When I was diagnosed, I was 44 years old, and I never expected to be diagnosed with cancer. And it really was a shock. And in the wellness side, I'd been really passionate in doing more from the wellness industry for cancer patients, because I had, been face to face with people we had to turn away, and it was sort of my thing to really bring Julie and the cancer training to the whole of my company. How we define ourselves. And so suddenly I was in that seat, and I went to when I had the diagnosis, I was really lucky to be in the wellness industry, and there are quite a few people on this call who I was able to go to for really good advice, because I had great doctors. But I also wanted to work the Western medicine and the great doctors with the alternative side, because I knew how powerful that was. So from there, sorry, I was just being distracted by the screen. From there, I was able to navigate different aspects of my journey, but I actually also felt really, really lost in other aspects, because you suddenly get to a point where you withdraw, or some people withdraw. And there were people I wanted to access that I didn't feel I should access. There were my own therapists I could have accessed, but I didn't want to ask them, or I didn't want to be with them. And so it's just a funny space. And then I came, obviously came across the other cancer patients. I was with groups and in an exercise therapy program. And I was thinking, wow, I have so much more knowledge than them. And I was able to give that. And there was all of this part when you're in the wellness industry, you want to take care of people. And we're really good at taking care of people. So there I was wanting to take care of people and giving them, different resources, but it was really hard to find resources. And now in the midst of COVID, there's so much online. There's this amazing content where I'm transported to Kamalaya, to this beautiful space in Koh Samui with beautiful practitioners, and I get to do it with my mom, who I'm with right now. I get to work with Six Senses and with Anna doing the drumming, which is again really different, and this is stuff that people wouldn't know how to access. And so suddenly all this online content, I was like, God, I wish there was some of this online content. And I think another aspect into that is exercise. I think one of the big things, there's still not enough information out there, is how much exercise is really important when you're going through your cancer journey. And in
Karina,
fact, Yeah,
I have to move the conversation
that's okay.
forward a little bit, and I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I just
But
wanted to kind of tell
we
people.
are going to one of your lifelines right now, which is Karina Stewart from Kamalaya. Karina, could you please share for those, especially for people, remember, this is not just a wellness call. We have people in the medical community who really don't understand what we do. And right now, I'd like for Karina and then Kent Richards to share what is wellness in Kamalaya and Six Senses. How are you delivering it online? Because we know we can aggregate it, and that's something that we need to do, but we need the medical community to understand what it is that we do, because wellness may be defined differently. We've had a very long relationship with the cancer community, but it's always been through look good, feel better, which is makeup. And they don't know how we've actually grown into this wellness industry. And that's part of what I need Karina and you, Kent, to also share right now. So Karina, if you could please share from Kamalaya. Did she drop off?
Yeah,
There
sorry,
you
I
are.
was muted. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. First of all, really thank you, Cheryl, and thank you to all of you here present. I've already learned so much, and we just started. So thank you, thank you. You're an amazing resource, and it's a delight to be here. My own background is in traditional Chinese medicine, and those of you who know, it's an approach to health and to healing that takes an entire lifestyle into account. So all of that approach of traditional Chinese medicine and naturopathy and Ayurveda and homeopathy and yoga and meditation, all of these things that we now have so much research about from the Western scientific approach, we apply in an integrative way at Kamalaya to all of our health programs. So whether it's the exposure to nature and what that does to the immune system, or to our moods, to our psychological well-being, or the nutrition and the impact that that has on our microbiome, and therefore also on our psychic well-being as well as our immune system, or pranayama and yoga, or acupuncture, or Ayurvedic treatments. We bring all of those resources together in what at this point I have to call a lifestyle medicine approach that has immense research behind it to have an impact not only on our immune systems for cancer, but on our moods for our well-being, which affects our neuropsychoimmunology, etc., and our endocrine system. So it's really hard to isolate any one ingredient out and say, this is the main thing. We have mentors that are absolutely brilliant at taking us through journeys, and we're putting them on live in our website, and it's available to everybody now, who take us through experiences and journeys to connect more deeply with some of the things that might be impacting our mental well-being, and therefore also our immune system, or our nervous system when it's stuck in the fight or flight or freeze response chronically. And then we're trying to heal, but we're still in a high fight or flight response. And how do we shift over? So all of these different elements we bring together in a curated way, in a way that is very much guided by traditional Chinese medical principles in our wellness programs. So it's not a buffet. It's not, I get to pick and choose. There is customization. There's a co-creation of the program with each of our guests, but guided by professionals. So, I mean, that's really our approach. It's, and it's all very well researched now. So that the evidence is there about the efficacy.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you. Can I just say one more thing, Julie? Just
Yes.
I have a very, very personal interest in cancer. I started researching cancer in my 20s because both of my parents had cancer twice, and each of them took a very, very different approach. My father passed away from cancer on a second round. My mother is a survivor, and she's in her 80s, and she also had it twice. And so from my 20s, I've really been interested in how lifestyle and prevention and these complementary alternative modalities impact cancer. So that is one of my passions and areas of expertise.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I think this time of COVID and digital assets and things like this provides such a tremendous opportunity where people are needing information, can't find the information. And we, over the past decade or so, have been developing and refining. And now the technology is there that we're able to deliver. So it's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. Over to you.
10 seconds. We literally, at the end of this month, latest the first week of June, are going to launch a formal platform with all the digital content that will be, it's Kamalaya Connect, and it will be live with a lot of free content in all of these areas for the general public. So
Beautiful. And our job is to make sure how we get that to the cancer patients, because they don't know Kamalaya, they don't know Six Senses, they don't know our whole world. And that's part of the bigger discussion. But first we have to get to know each other and what we do. And you're doing a beautiful job sharing that, Karina. Over to you, Kent, to help us understand wellness as well with Six Senses.
Sure. Thank you, Julie, and hello, everyone. All very inspirational hearing these wonderful stories and what has developed as people have become connected to the need of those who have suffered from this illness and disease. But from our end in Six Senses, you know, we know that we've always been recognized as pioneers in wellness. And the more we were connected with Julie in particular and the Global Wellness Institute, we realized that we needed to do more regarding cancer survivors and everyone connected. Because as Julie's always reminded us, you know, there's 1 in 2 people are touched by cancer. So by having, you know, by helping our team that always felt really confident in dealing with any situation that our guest might have brought to them, you know, by doing the training, it provided the confidence to our team. We learned how to deal with these situations a lot better. And it just became the right thing to do. And our owners as well, you know, picked it up and agreed that even though we would never be measuring a return on what we were doing, it wouldn't be a marketing campaign, but by being included in databases of where a cancer survivor or cancer patient could go and feel confident in what they would have offered to them, it just meant that we were doing our bit as well to make sure that we were pioneers in wellness, but across the board. That is how we really got involved. And now nearly, I think, Julie, 2 years down the line, it's going well. And we even working now towards outreach, going out to work with cancer teams and hospitals, you know, where they can refer us as places to go when they're in recovery. And Julie, you mentioned our social media and how we're reaching out as well. So through At Home with Six Senses, and Facebook Live on Six Senses Spas and Six Senses Hotels and Resorts, we have ongoing communications daily when we focus on different areas of the wellness market and how we can help people who are looking for ways to live their life better and to 100% of its potential. And this includes even, you know, Anna Berstrom on a Sunday morning has got a Friends with Six Senses on Facebook Live. And that is great because she brings in a whole lot of different people who are key to the industry, purely to give them the platform to let people know what is available. So we're really finding that in today's community, we're able to take our not really our campaign, but be able to take our messages out to a much wider audience and therefore hoping to attract more and more people into the world of wellness.
Thank you, Kent. And one of the areas that no one's touched on yet that Six Senses and Como and many other properties have sleeping programs, and up to 80% of people with cancer experience issues with sleep. So there are many things besides movement and nutrition, the nervous system, but sleep is a huge way that we can also help the industry. I'm going to skip a little bit in the agenda due to time, so don't be offended if you don't get to speak at this moment, because we will continue to have this conversation. We're going to move over to Marina from Euphoria Retreat, and after that we will move over to American Cancer Society, our big powerhouse at the end here, to really help consolidate what we've heard and talk about the potential opportunities. So Marina, over to you.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for everybody being in the call and sharing valuable knowledge. For me, let's say I have a double stand because I'm a double cancer survivor, almost 30 years and almost 10 years. And it is, for me, from the beginning, it was important to still feel a woman and attractive and all that. But what was for me the motivation is to make some meaning of my whole experience. And that's what I was trying to do all these years. And bringing into life Euphoria Retreat was part of my journey. I wouldn't open up Euphoria Retreat if I was not a cancer survivor. So from the beginning, how to help and how to be there for cancer survivors was part of our mission. And we had early on Julie, with the support of biologic research, to train us, and actually we wanted to do now a second training, and COVID got in the way, and do even a retreat. So again, when COVID came to our lives, for me it was again, what is this, how to make sense of it. In a way, we're going through a difficult time. For some people it's life-threatening, and again, we have to pull ourselves together and find the tools that have worked for our emotional support to offer there in public, in a digital form. So that is what we've tried to do. We've created a 5-week immersive, fully immersive virtual retreat that has based around the 5 elements and the ancient Greek Hippocratic medicine and ancient Greek philosophy, which is how we work, which is the basis of Euphoria Methodos. But what we're doing is we're devoting each week to one element, and we are paying special interest, special concentration on the emotional side. We're having yoga there, we're having Qigong, we're having nutrition, which is so important. But the emotional support for me as a cancer patient and for me going through difficulties is always paramount. So this is what we're trying to do. So we have an open webinar and we have a closed webinar for a closed group that want to participate, everything for free. So to be able to have a Q&A with the mentors, with our spiritual mentor and myself. So, I don't want to take more time, but for me is we have to all try to make a meaning. We have to still be functioning, to still be healthy, beautiful. But the most important thing is why, and what is our purpose here. And looking into that will help give meaning to why we have cancer, why we survive, and why we're going through this COVID phase. So thank you, everybody.
Muted.
Oh, it's better, Marina. I just wanted to say hi while we're waiting.
Sorry about that. So we're going to move over to American Cancer Society right now, over to Mary Ann Rasmussen. Is she on the call, Kaylee? Yes.
I'm not seeing her.
Okay, so then we'll just take a quick dive. Maybe you can text her over to Mark, who's going to talk from very briefly, you've got a minute, on some of the leading practices from Johns Hopkins on how people are using the healing arts modalities during COVID.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be really quick. I just sent everyone a link to the data warehouse of evidence-based art therapy at Johns Hopkins. those of you here on the call that haven't met me before, Aracena, we make evidence-based aromatherapy, and we have treatment regimens for cancer patients, for sleep disorders, nausea, anxiety. And so I've been involved in the cancer world from that side, but during COVID, the work at Johns Hopkins has been how to deal with a variety of conditions, and in fact, it's under the COVID headline, the art therapy database. The point is that we know in wellness, and given the initiative, that evidence and empirical data is very important, and that's my world. So I'm a part of the Cleveland Clinic's Arts and Medicine Institute, as well as the Johns Hopkins Arts and Mind. So I like art, but the power to heal and transform people is terrific. And if you follow the link that I sent, you'll find gardening, baking, painting, music, all sorts of things that I think that people need to know.
Thank you, Mark. And that is one of the things I wanted to plant as a seed is, I know like Sixth Senses, for example, has been doing some gardening. Other people have been doing outdoor concerts with music. And so that's exactly what Johns Hopkins has been talking about. And a lot of people are baking and gardening because this is very healing. So remember that when we think about wellness, there is that scientific evidence even during this time of how just even what's in your refrigerator and showing people how to cook can be extremely healing. Quickly over to 3 Sages while we're trying to get American Cancer Society on. 3 Sages is an app, mostly in the mindfulness, yoga, and meditation arena. And I've asked Greg to just give a little understanding of digital content. It doesn't need to be an hour long. Some people can't tolerate an hour long. So could you give us some parameters as we're thinking of building digital content for the future?
Sure, Julie, thank you. And thank you for letting me be a part of this conversation. It's been inspiring listening to the powerful, strong ladies on here. So thank you very much for that. Got 1 minute. So basically what 3 Sages does is that we take a different look at content. As we know, there's so much content out there. It's a bit of content fatigue. You know, a lot of people are shooting content in studios. People are shooting content in various different areas, trying to differentiate. I think that the biggest thing which a lot of people are missing is that, you know, wellness should be a right, not a luxury. We have to change of wellness being too expensive, takes too much time, requires too much planning, you know, it can be plain intimidating. So how do we create short format content which we can actually fit into our lives? And most importantly, how do we find ways of creating wellness content which is accessible, scalable, impactful, and more relatable to people out there? And that's where we sort of, you know, come up with our concept called Sips of Wellness, where we come up with short format content which is nature inspired, because we always feel that, you know, there's enough content being shot indoors inside studios. You know, let's get people outside, even if it's virtually. So our whole angle is to create content which is inspiring with real people as well. We don't need Spartan warriors standing there intimidating people. Like, let's use real people and really show them how to move, be well, breathe. And we call, you know, we mainly focus on restorative well-being because, you know, sure, movement is key, and we do have a lot of movement through our yoga, through mindful walking, but really what we're trying to do is just to make it more accessible so people can take those sips of wellness throughout their day. We have enough pressure. We're living in an always-on society, so let's rather find ways of delivering content which we can really make impactful to people's lives. So I know I had 1 minute, and Julie, I hope that's enough just to give a bit of insight of what 3 Sages is about, but, you know, those are the real keys of just let's use Mother Nature, let's make it short format, and let's give people those sips of wellness so they can achieve a higher state of wellness.
Beautiful. And we do have Marianne on the line, but I just want to give her a minute to breathe. So I was a .commer, right? A self-professed .commer. And so what I look at what we're in right now is when the .com industry started, everybody rushed online to do brochureware. And then the industry started getting smarter in developing tools and interactive techniques and learning and metrics. And that's where we are right now. We're at brochureware. We're at where everybody is rushing to have a presence online. And what I'm hoping to do is to try and plant seeds through either healing arts or through the 20 minutes of sips of wellness to make it accessible, to the healing arts of knowing what's evidence-based. My goal is planting seeds that's accessible to the cancer community, but it's accessible to anyone because we all share the same thing of humanities and the healing arts. So Marianne, I know you haven't been a large part of the call, but basically we gave the voices of cancer, understanding how the community wants to be empowered, how self-care is extremely important. We also talked about wellness from the delivery, mostly from the hospitality lens of how we curate personalized journeys and experiences through exercise, through nutrition, through sleep programs, through art therapy, through many of the modalities that are delivered in cancer centers and of which are supported by American Cancer Society. And again, just to remind that as an industry, we have always supported the cancer community. The cancer community, however, has only known us as Look Good, Feel Better, which is lipstick programs. We have clinical trial going on right now, which Biologique Recherche has sponsored with University of Colorado. We are measuring how the skin changes over time. So we are learning. We're learning about mindfulness. We're teaching mindfulness. So there's a lot of things as budgets are getting cut with ACS. So I just wanted to tee it up a little bit for you since you're coming in kind of blind at the end to summarize. But if there's ways that we can help you and help the constituents in the cancer community that are caught right now with the delivery of services, and we have a whole industry here that is human focused and really wants to be in service. And that is what our goal is here.
That is wonderful. I apologize. For some reason, the information on how to get in went into my spam. So I apologize. I've been trying to figure it out. Thank you for having me, and I'm delighted to be here. I agree with you, and the little that I've heard at the end here is so important, positivity, but you're right. A lot of our mission programs are being cut. And what we're doing is we are trying to educate our cancer communities with opportunities to partner with others, as well as with our hospital partners. A lot of them are starting to grow some of these mission programs as well. But the most important thing that we give is right now, especially with the COVID, we're moving more towards digital and video type of education and information, as well as one-on-one telecounseling, and a lot of our people, our ambassadors that are working with our cancer communities are working also with our hospital systems. So anything that we can work with together and anything that you can do would be a huge, huge plus for us. As you know, I don't know how deeply you want me to go into this, but a lot of our programs, such as our Hope Lodge, our Road to Recovery, and our peer-to-peer, like you said, a lot of those are cut, and we're pivoting to focus more on COVID funding and COVID relief. But the important thing is that we can't forget our cancer patients, and they're scared. 80% of our calls that we receive on our phones are about COVID-19 and cancer. And a lot of them are very scared, and we need to be there for them, and we're doing our best. I can send you some information as well.
That would be great. And again, to remember that as an industry, we're here to support. I know we're going to have a lot of conversations because we are just about out of time.
Yes.
But there is, you know, I think there's a great potential right now to infuse and to lift some of that burden off,
yes,
having to create some of that digital content that is applicable to everyone, and to give people that experience, rather than rushing to give a yoga class, for example, and having somebody film it, we have yoga masters throughout the world that can deliver it in a location like Bali, in a location like India. And so we have ways to help you while you're in this crunch. In any cancer center is in a crunch right now. You're not a master of digital content, right? And you're trying to do that.
No,
and
we're
we're
not.
doing the same thing right now of taking what we do in a live experience and how can we do it online. And so the beauty is the opportunity to help, because we have access to so many different resources. And we are, my understanding is, out of time, but we will continue to open this discussion. It's very timely. And so if you do have any kind of content that you do think is relevant, please email me at julie@wellnessforcancer.com. Kaylee, if you can type my email in there. We have, as we said, many cancer centers on the call. We also have many publications on the call. And even if it's just starting to get access to some of these at-home programs right now as a Band-Aid, until we can develop something bigger to be able to help the larger community, please know we are your partner and has always been your partner.
Thank you.
I open it up to Susie, Nancy, or any of our advisors to just say anything in closing.
Well, thank you, Julie. This is Susie Ellis. I'm in Florida, and I just want to thank you for putting this together. And I want to let you all know, part of the DNA of the Global Wellness Institute is collaboration. So we are going to aggregate all of your names and emails. We have all that, and share it with all of you. And also anything, Julie, you would like to share it, we can take the chat. A lot of you have put, links there so that you can just have all that information, because we know that then you can get in touch with each other and do more and more. But I think this is tremendous. And Julie, congratulations, you're a great moderator and you put together a great program. I can tell because we had 60 people that stayed from beginning to end. So everyone was really interested. So thank you. Nancy, did you want to say anything?
Just well done and really, really interesting, and happy to be here and grateful for all of you are doing to support the community. It's incredible.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Have a good evening and where you are, or good morning for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muy poquito.